Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you tuning in once again. So we are in video number 2. We're doing some wet sanding a little bit more on our 69 Pontiac GTO. Like I said earlier in previous videos, this is a giveaway car, so we're going to give this away at the end of this whole series to some lucky winner. So with that being said, like I say, this is video 2, volume 2, and I call it volume 2 because a year ago I did the same thing to the 69 Mercury Cougar. So it's kind of a recap, a little more in depth. I get a lot of questions on this. I know a lot of guys are just, they haven't picked that airbrush up yet. And you know, that's okay. I rattle can for years and there's still nothing wrong with it. I still do it once in a while for flats, sometimes primers. And hey, I mean, I was pretty good at rattle can. I mean, I could hold my own with the best of them, you know what I mean? But I never had a spot to do airbrushing before, so now I'm in more of a controlled environment. Picked up the booth, and airbrushing is the way to go for me now. Like I say, I still do some can work here and there, but I think for me, for the nicer look, I like going with the airbrush. It's more controlled, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, we're going to get on the video here, and I was going to do the paint in this video. It just went too long, so I had to cut it up. So we're doing a little bit of extra on this one. I'm doing panel line in this, and I don't know why I forgot to do it earlier. So in the video, you'll see we did the primer, and then I went back panel line and went back to primer, back to sanding it, and then we're done with it. But the panel line should have been done right after it was primered and before it was wet sanded. But no, I forgot it. Hey, these things happen. It's real world life, guys. It's showing you my flaw here. So anyways, either way, it all turned out the same in the end. It just was a little more work. Like I said, not a big deal. So, like I say, we're going to get you over to the bench and get it started. It's like I say, we're going to do paint in volume number 3, video 3, because, like I say, if I would have murphed it all together, it would have been over an hour long, and I thought, let's cut this up a little bit. So that's where we're going. So take it over to the bench. Let's get it primered, finish that up, and then we'll move on from there. So the paint, cars, all that stuff, everything you guys see here, all the stuff come from Hobby Models. So if you guys want to check that out, there will be a link in the description below. Click on that, it takes you right to his website. And like I say, the primers, thinners, everything comes down from there. So Mark's got a really nice selection down at Hobby Nut. So like I say, check that out and pick yourself up something. Like I say, I find the stuff works really well. So it's my to-go-to stuff. Love it. Let's get to the bench and let's get going. Okay guys, so I'd like to say I just use regular microfiber towels, and even with it wet, that'll wipe that off nice. And just make sure you use a towel that you haven't waxed with or anything, so that'll ruin your day in a hurry. Like I said, wet sand it out really nice. When you're wiping these down, either you can let them air dry, but make sure, like up in here, get all the areas with all that water out of there, because as soon as you start spraying paint and you get a water driplet come out, oh man, it's game over. Almost broke that off. Almost. These towels catch everything. So yeah, that's nice and smooth. So something I did, and I forgot, because you know I'm always on time crunch and trying to get things done. Like I tell you guys, don't hurry, don't rush, but here I'm rushing. Before I started wet sanding this, a lot of times I'll take and do my panel line, and I'll put that in first before I wet sand it. That way the black is soaked in and all that good stuff. So see right here, this needs to be open just a little bit. So before we paint, we're going to take the knife and just put just a little scribe right there. Just kind of make sure that primer's clear out. The panels are not that deep on this car. And I really don't have any good scribers to open up panel lines. That's something I need to invest in yet. But we're going to scribe that door just a little bit. And the name of the game is keep the dust off. I mean, that's the biggest thing. As long as we can keep the dust gone, usually we're pretty good. So this piece here, we're going to glue it back up again with our putty. And like I say, we just got to make sure everything is out of there. I don't ever leave the putty in when I'm wet sanding or washing it, because water will get up in there and you'll never know it. And it'll be all over with. Like I say, I should do this ahead of time. Just grab this line a little bit. Real carefully, just going to open it back up. Just real light. And real careful like so. So razor blades all I have here for this. Let the trunk just a little bit. I'm going to hit this just a little bit right here where I hit that. Just make sure we don't have no high spots. And we'll just wipe her back down. Same as on the doors. Like I say, I'm kind of doing this backwards, guys. I'm sorry. I kind of forgot about it. We're going to go whoops on that one. See, I should have did this ahead of time, but I did not. I kind of forgot. Just being real with you. Alright, we'll wipe that out real good. We should be good to go. And now we're going to take a little bit of panel line and put in there. And the reason I'm doing that, this way here you don't get that light discoloration. Okay, like so. Alright, we'll take a little panel line. And we're going to go real light. I'm talking just real light. Real light. Let that work its way around. Alright, so much for the real light. I got it. The same over here. I found doing this, it helps out when you're painting, especially a lighter color. Wipe off some of the heavy stuff here. Like I say, I usually do this before I wet sand it, and I don't know what I was thinking. So that's alright. We'll let that set and tack up for a minute, and then we'll come back to it. I'm going to do the same thing here on the hood. I'm just making more work out of it for me, because usually I can paint this in here, wet sand it, and then those spots will be gone for me. You guys know how it is by painting these models. Sometimes these little pieces don't get filled in properly. So if you do the black ahead of time, it takes care of that for you. Like I say, I should have did this before I wet sanded it. After I got done painting it, putting the primer on it, I should have, after it dried, came back and then did this treatment to it and then been done with it. And then wet sanded it, and it would have still left that little bit in there. That's usually how I'd like to do it, but I forgot. So a bit around there. Like so. Like I say, we'll let that tack up a little bit, we'll let it dry, and then we'll come back to it. Get some of the heavy stuff out of there. All right, we're gonna let that dry just for a minute. I'm gonna hit that a little bit more with some wet and dry sandpaper, and then we'll come back and we'll get her painted. Okay guys, I stuck that in the oven just for a little bit. We're gonna hit that with a little more wet and dry, just a little bit. And it'll take off that edge, but it'll leave the black in the middle. That's why I like using the sandpaper for this, because it's not as aggressive. So it'll take a little bit to burn it down. Like I say, it's not a thing you have to do, but I find on some colors, you always get that, you get the white or the whatever color you got on the bottom, and then you have that little line inside your trunk, and you can pan line it after the fact, but this helps you out before you get to that point. So that makes it look a lot nicer already before you even start. Like I say, I don't know what I was thinking. I usually do this before I start wet sanding. I don't know, I forgot. I just plain forgot. Got a little heavy on the primer out there, a little bit. So that's why I like to do it beforehand. Like that. I may have to go in and wash this again because, like I said, don't know what I was thinking. You don't want to leave that line like that, because you'll see that in the paint once you paint that. Like I say, if I would have did this before I sanded, I wouldn't have been going through all this right now, because I already would have sanded it, and you would have just sanded it till that disappeared, and you call it good. That's right. We're still all right. So I get the rest of this sanded down, and I'll bring you back. Okay, guys, so we got that cleaned up, sanded down again. So that's how it should have looked the first time. Like I say, I wasn't thinking. So that gives you a nice black edge to start with, especially if you're painting a lighter color or metallic. You know, you always have that black line around there, so it always looks pretty good. Like I say, I don't know what I was thinking. I usually do this beforehand, but I forgot. So that's where we ended up. Not a big deal, nothing major. So we did the hood, same thing. That turned out pretty cool. So now you got those black vents in there, and if the paint don't fill in there nicely, it's already black, so you don't have to worry about it. When I primered this, I put it on the paint stand, and I know a lot of guys don't have one of those, so I'm going to show you the other old school way I do. And I actually like this way better, because I don't have that bulky stand in my way. I use one of these sticks. I use a popsicle stick, like say get the dollar store, and I take some 3M tape. I'll just take this, put it on the end of the stick, something like so. Make sure it's on there really, really good. And I'll just take and stick this on the inside of the body. Like so. That's how I do a lot of my models, just like this. That way I just hold on to it. And like I say, just make sure it won't go anywhere. So I'll move it around pretty vigorously and go from there. So a lot of times I'll move this out of here just so I can make sure it gets up inside. So I'll fold the tape around, or I'll just come back in and cut it with a pair of scissors. Just get that extra piece out of there, same as the front. If I can fold it over, and then great. If not, I'll just leave it like it is, and that works perfect just like that. Like I say, I like to get this part done first before I start mixing paint. That way I don't have to worry about it. Because sometimes paint will start to cure up on you a little bit once you mix it. So I get this stuff done first. Good to go. And that's it. So how I hang on to this, that's another thing I've had asked. I have a little vise here. So that's my little paint vise. I'll put this in here like so, and I just clamp it down, and it sits just like that until she's dry. And that's how I usually do it. Simple as that. Like I say, if guys don't have the paint things, that works pretty good. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this video up. And like I say, next video, we're going to start putting some color down and go from that route and see how she turns out. So once again, I appreciate you guys tuning in, checking out the channel. If you guys are not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I left it real easy for you. There's a little icon on the corner of the screen. Click that and you're there. You're in it to win it, my friend. You'll be part of the group, part of the club, all that good stuff. So once again, thanks a lot, and we will see you guys on the next video. And we're going to get this thing into some orange paint. And yeah, it turned out pretty nice. So as you've seen in the thumbnail, but all right, guys, you guys have a good one, and we'll see you next time around.